Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira vanachari Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira vanachari Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Om. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vivrajak Acharya Shtotara Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantarat Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Sarva Shastra Bdipiyusha, Sarva Vedaika Satvala, Sarva Siddhantaratnadya, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada, Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Prabho, Kalidvanto Ditaditya, Shri Krishna Parivartita, Paramananda Pathaya, Prima Varshaksharayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Shri Krishnaya Namostute, Madeka Bandhu Mad Sangin Mad Guru Mad Mahadanan Manistaraka Mad Bhagya Madananda Namostute, Asadhu Sadhu Tadayin, Atinicho Chatakara Hanamuncha Kadachin Mad Prema Hritkanta Yospura. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 21, titled Conversation between Manu and Kardama, text 50. Nūnaṁ caṅkramaṇaṁ deva. Nūnaṁ caṅkramaṇaṁ deva. Satāṁ saṁrakṣaṇāya te. Satāṁ saṁrakṣaṇāya te. Vadhāya cāsatāṁ tvam. Vadhāya cāsatāṁ tvam. Hareḥ śaktir pālinī. Hareḥ śaktir pālinī. Nūnaṁ caṅkramaṇaṁ deva. Satāṁ saṁrakṣaṇāya te. Vadhāya cāsatāṁ tvam. Hareḥ śaktir pālinī. nūnaṁ caṅkramaṇaṁ deva satāṁ saṁrakṣaṇāya te vadhāya casatāṁ tvam hareḥ śaktir pālinī nūnaṁ caṅkramaṇaṁ deva satāṁ saṁrakṣaṇāya te vadhāya casatāṁ tvam hareḥ śaktir pālinī nūnam, surely, caṅkramaṇaṁ, the tour, deva, O Lord, satāṁ, of the virtuous, saṁrakṣaṇāya, for the protection, te, your, vadhāya, for killing, cha, and asatām, of the demons, yaha, the person who, tvam, you, hareḥ, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, śaktiḥ, the energy, he, since, pālinī, protecting. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. Translation. The tour you have undertaken, O Lord, is surely intended to protect the virtuous and kill the demons, since you embody the protecting energy of Śrī Hari. Purport. It appears from many Vedic literatures, especially histories like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the Purāṇas, that the pious kings of old used to tour their kingdoms in order to give protection to the pious citizens and to chastise or kill the impious. Sometimes they used to kill animals in the forest to practice the killing art, because without such practice they would not be able to kill the undesirable elements. Kshatriyas are allowed to commit violence in that way, because violence for a good purpose is a part of their duty. Here two terms are clearly mentioned: vadhāya, for the purpose of killing, and asatām, those who are undesirable. The protecting energy of the king is supposed to be the energy of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavad-gītā 4.8. In Bhagavad-gītā 4.8 the Lord says, Paritrāṇāya sadhūnam vināṣaya ca duṣkritam. The Lord descends to give protection to the pious and to kill the demons. The potency, therefore, to give protection to the pious and kill the demons or undesirables is directly an energy from the Supreme Lord, and the king or the chief executive of the state is supposed to possess such energy. In this age, it is very difficult to find such a head of state who is expert in the killing the undesirables. Modern heads of state sit very nicely in their palaces and try without reason to kill innocent persons. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Tam Sadidam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sihitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patittanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti-Vikāsa Swamiti Namane. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti-Vedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. First of all, I'd like to request for blessings to all the assembled Vaishnavas, especially senior devotees and Srila Prabhupada disciples. Very humbled to sit here. So Kardama Muni speaks to Swayambhuva Manu. It's already in the previous verse it says that he will speak sweetly. He will delight Swayambhuva Manu with his sweet accents. How? Why would we say he speaks sweetly? Both of them, Kardama Muni and Swayambhuva Manu, they act in their role as Brahmana and as Kshatriya, and they do it perfectly. You can say the background of the visit of Swayambhuva Manu and Kardama Muni, I mean, their exchange is about that Kardama Muni will marry the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. So why all this talk? Okay, thank you, come, yes, I'm taking your daughter. No. Kardama Muni is a very special person. We can take him as an example of someone who has material desires and then approaches the Lord. But that's not exactly like this. You can say from one point of view, yes, but not really. Actually, Kardama Muni had no desire to marry on his own. He was requested to do so by his father, Lord Brahma. And out of respect for the father, for his desire, for his actually adesh, he said, fine, I'm doing it. So how he did it? In the best possible way. Then he was already worshipping the Lord. It was not something new. It's not that I need something from the Lord. He wanted to do his duty, which means to marry and make progeny in the best possible way. So he approached the Lord, meditated. And it's said when the Lord himself came to see Kardama Muni, he said, I know what you want, I arranged all that. Although you act, that was in the mind of the personality of Godhead who came, although you act, you follow the ways of ordinary people, you worship me with one-pointed devotion. And because of that, I'll become your son. It's not that, and nobody, even those who are desireless, akama, they do not have such devotion for me like you have. Therefore he cried. Therefore there's Bindu Sarora, which is so amazing. The Lord cried and the lake remained there out of love for his devotee. So this is Kardama Muni. And now he speaks very sweetly. This is all like first class, high class personalities. We are not used to such talk anymore. Our present, modern days, people speak roughly. If you speak very elegantly, eloquently, your points may not come across. Cut the crap, tell me. And those who are more forceful, they're more successful. But here there's no need for that, because we have high-class people involved. So Kardama Muni is acting in his functioning as a Brahmana. He's saying, for sure, nūnaṁ, for sure you haven't come just like this, touring the world. You must have you must have executed your duty to protect the pious and punish the miscreants. He didn't ask him, did you do it? Are you being a good kshatriya? No, he's just saying, this is what kshatriyas do. I'm sure that you are doing it. And later, a few verses ahead, when Swayambhuva Manu will reply, he will thank him for the instructions he gave him. So thank you, now everything is clear. I'm clear about my duty. So nice, he was thankful. There's just one thing more. Yeah. So, and that is the marriage of his daughter. Please take it. It was all arranged. There was no question of Kardama Muni saying, no, actually, that's too much of a botheration. No, he took up the duty. It was one with him. So he went along with it. But still, we can see from his, he didn't want to stay and enjoy the family life ad infinitum. He said, no, when the son is born, I'll go. Why did he go? The Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared to set the example for ordinary people. He was really that much detached. To all this process, he became fully purified. So the verses hareḥ śaktir pālinī, that the kshatriyas, or Swayambhuva Manu was the embodiment of kshatriyas, you embody the protecting energy of Śrī Hari. We know that Prithu Maharaj, he was Shaktavesha avatar of the Lord, and he was endowed with Pālana Shakti. That was the Avesh that he got, Pālana Shakti. And his example, that comes a little later in the 4th canto. Yesterday, Anandatirtha Prabhu spoke something about it because it's related. It's the similar issue. Here, the issue of protecting the pious and punishing the miscreants is just touched upon. It's the beginning of the creation. There's no miscreants yet. They're going to come. So the kshatriyas are ready. The brahmanas also ready to instruct the kshatriyas. But a little later, that's in the fourth canto, we have this. Now a bad king came, which was quite unusual. King Vena. He had an ideal father, ideal king, Anga. But when he passed away, there was no one to ascend the throne, and Anga was clearly unqualified. But there was a vacancy. It was a vacant spot. Who will Who will govern? Who will rule? Anarchy doesn't work. Anarchy works only among the Brahmanas. They don't need perfect Brahmanas. They don't need to be ruled. They have their own duties and they follow them. And they don't want anything from anyone else, and just perfect. That's only for Brahmanas. But Brahmanas, how many are there in the world? Few. Some real, some want to be, this is very rare. So, who will protect the innocent citizens against the rogues? Because when there's no rule, when there's non-violence from the government, there's nothing, the rogues prosper. They said, thank you very much. Like, at this very point, when there's no control, the rogues prosper. They're scrupulous or unscrupulous. Why? Thank you. So, Srila Prabhupada has also many times spoke about how India got the independence. The propaganda is, or official story is that by non-violence. And that's a great example how to, make a political change. But actually, when the real threat of force was shown, at that time, the British left. Prabhupada spoke, that was his Subhash Chandra Bose, who was his colleague from the college, who led the, Indian Liberation, INA, Indian National Army. Yeah, and the army in itself, it wasn't successful, but it showed what the nation ruled is capable of. Yeah, and anyway, this is a big. But the point is, this was the crucial moment. If the ruled nation would just remain passive and non-cooperative, and it would rule. Why not? You're asking for it, right? The same way, sometimes we're reminded, the saints are very nice, right? They behave nicely, they very nice, but again, the bad elements, they take advantage. So there's a story of that, was a snake who became a Vaishnava by the preaching of Narad Muni. Before, everybody was afraid of the snake, and now just the kids were harassing the snake, and the snake didn't do anything because he was a Vaishnava, a non-violent. So Narad Muni told the snake, show your fangs, show that you will do something, protect yourself. So at least you have to make a show of being alive. You cannot just tolerate everything. It's not good for the people who are taking advantage. There is sometimes there's a place of just be completely sadhu all the way, but this is part of the sadhutva also. And you see, Prabhupada, he's making a comment. Last two sentences. Such comments are not found in other commentaries of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Yeah, they don't comment the current political affairs. But Prabhupada felt the need to do it, and being a compassionate sadhu. Yeah. Prabhupada says here, in this age, it is very difficult to find such a head of state, which means what we described, that takes care of the citizens, who is expert in killing the undesirables. The heads of state sit very nicely in their palaces and try without reason to kill innocent persons. Even the opposite. The heads of state kill, or some of them at least, kill innocent citizens. It's an unpleasant topic, but it's true. It's true. And Srila Prabhupada's mission, of course, was to make the whole world Krishna conscious. But now how to do that? How you do that? Well, the way Srila Prabhupada showed us how to do it, he gave suggestions, he gave solutions to be adopted on all levels in the society. Prabhupada said famously, this movement will go down in history as having saved the world in its darkest hour. In on one level, you could say it's done in the sense that the information is out, the books are going out, they are out, they're being read, they're being studied. Some people are taking up Krishna consciousness, but the whole world, the way it goes, where the society goes, we could say it's still not enough. Yeah. I was just listening yesterday, one small snippet of Prabhupada. He was traveling from Bhubaneswar in 1977, February. He spent a month in Bhubaneswar, very simple cottage, yeah, on the new land for the Hare Krishna temple. And he was going to Mayapur, most probably, it says Bhubaneswar to Kolkata. And he commented in the morning. It's very painful. And the background is chai, coffee, all these sounds in trains and train stations. It was a train station. He said, it's painful to see the faces of the non-devotees. One becomes polluted just by seeing them. And but I think Satsvarup Maharaj, he said, but if we are preaching, then we are protected. So yes, if we are preaching, then we are protected. Hari Prabhu said, but these people, they're not happy. They're just making a show of being happy. And Prabhupada said, no, they really think they're happy. They're enjoying life. But what they're doing? He said, last night they were disturbing so much. Yeah, you know, if you spend at least one train ride or whatever, something else, ordinary people are troublesome, to say it politely. Simply chai, coffee, bidi, and talking nonsense. Time passed, that's a formula, right? So, anyway, just a small snippet. Prabhupada saw the pain. I mean, he was pain when he saw the suffering of the people who don't even understand that they're suffering, thinking, oh, we are enjoying. So, Prabhupada's mission is, it's amazing. What all he thought of in, let's say, in short 10 years or 12 years of the active mission in the West and the whole world, what all the what it means to rectify the situation in the world, to make people happy again, make them Krishna conscious. He did so much. We cannot really fully comprehend what he did. So there's a new book which kind of compiled or taken into account all that Prabhupada wanted to do, and he set things up, he spoke about that. The Muda mission of Srila Prabhupada by my Guru Maharaj Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. And I thought about this when Prabhupada was here in the Purport criticizing the heads of state, the modern heads of state. I said, okay, I was thinking I'll pull some quotes. It's famous from the first canto, where Prabhupada speaks a lot, taking the examples of Yudhishthira Maharaj, his ideal kingdom, how he was an ideal king, then Parikshit Maharaj, how he was ready to immediately kill Kali. But then I thought, this everything is collected here in this book. So many topics, and this topic must be for sure here. Dealings with the government, like policies, governance, how devotees should approach, how we should do. Prabhupada spoke a lot about this here and there. In the purports of the Bhagavatam, he spoke in the lectures individually to disciples. And you just see, this is just one volume. This is volume 2. I'll read a few quotes from here. There's 3 volumes, and it's amazing. If we can take up a little bit from that mission of Srila Prabhupada, it would be so much. And Prabhupada took up just like the whole spectrum, how to make the world Krishna conscious. We have a really an amazing master. What he gave to us, it's not done yet. Like at least 50% not complete yet. There's no varnashrama in place. So many other things are not in place. You can say from this perspective that the governance is also part of varnashrama. Proper kshatriyas should be in place. Now Prabhupada had a few approaches. It was not just one. There wasn't a few. We live in democracy mostly. And Prabhupada didn't like democracy really. He said demon crazy, that's very famous. But also, okay, there's a democracy. If that's a fact, then we can work with democracy also. What does it mean? We have to, the majority has to elect Krishna conscious leaders. In the smaller states, that's possible, maybe. Prabhupada was trying for that also. He had so many ideas. Let's just, so this is a section called Political Initiatives. And the first quote there from Prabhupada is explaining why devotees should even engage in this field, political field. We have got to think politically also, because after all living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna wants their welfare so that they may come back to home, back to Godhead. It is the duty of the Vaishnava to see that people are gradually educated to Krishna consciousness. So perhaps it would be better we also capture political power, if we can. As there are many parties, Communist Party, Congress Party, this party, that party, so there must be Krishna's party. Why not? then people will be happy if Krishna's party comes to governmental post. Immediately there will be peace. And there's also a description of like an analysis of that Krishna party, or how is it called? In America, there was an attempt by Balavanta Prabhu to make such a party. He did. He started, but then the whole attempt stopped for some reasons. But that was, of course, Prabhupada inspired that, and he was also giving support. And here, as early as 1970, Srila Prabhupada declared, we must begin now, armed with Krishna's philosophy, to take a more active part in world affairs. Krishna came to kill the miscreants. We are Krishna's representatives. We must now begin to interfere, because nothing is going right in the world affairs. So that was, I don't know, that was 70s, 60s. Nothing went right in the world affairs. If we now look back and compare with the present day affairs, we could say it was so nice in the 70s, or it was not as bad as now. So it's Kali Yuga is making a progress. We will act just like Marx. He himself did not fight. He created Lenin to fight. If good arguments fail, we shall begin to fight, to enter politics. So just approach the leaders very seriously. You must all become so dedicated, just like I am. Now we see things are going wrong, so we must interfere. First of all, we use our philosophy. Learn it thoroughly. Challenge any philosophy. Meet any leader and challenge him. Defeat his philosophy. That was Prabhupada's spirit. So I think most of you are here to learn Krishna conscious philosophy or practice. So there's a mandate here of Srila Prabhupada. Learn the philosophy. Learn it thoroughly. And challenge any philosophy. Meet any leader and challenge him. Defeat his philosophy. What is the point of defeating any leader's philosophy? To win over him. That's with the hope of make the leaders favorable, so they may do the change we want. We want it. Another quote: why devotees should engage in secular politics? When a Vaishnava sees mismanagement in the government, he feels great compassion in his heart and tries his best to purify the situation by spreading the Hare Krishna movement. So, spreading the Hare Krishna movement is the real cure. But if the politicians can help, that would be very nice, very conducive. Another quote. Instead of actively taking part in politics, saintly persons should engage in chanting the Mahamantra Hare Krishna. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, by simply chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the general populace can derive all benefits without political implications. So that's possible also. From a few quotes, I mean there's so many, we can understand that we have to work in all spheres. Preach Krishna consciousness, let's say through ordinary or preaching Krishna consciousness is not ordinary, but through in the ways that we are doing already. Yeah. Conventional. But even preaching Krishna consciousness is not conventional. It's always spreading Krishna's message is something amazing that all the preachers know. Whenever that's going on, you feel there's something special is going on. It's not ordinary. Anyway, but so saintly people, devotees, they're not interested in politics per se. Not just to capture the government in itself, not interested. Prabhupada said, saintly persons are not interested in political matters, yet they are always thinking of the welfare of the people in general. Consequently, they sometimes have to come down to the political field and take steps to correct the misguided government or royalty. We can see that in I mentioned the example of King Vena. That's the example how the saintly people, the sages, they involved in politics. First, they installed Vena because at least like a blind uncle is better than no uncle, at least some government. But then he was such nonsense. He stopped all the sacrifices. He thought that he is God. He seems so. And king is the living God or something, and all the demigods preside in him. He took that philosophy, but that the king is the representative of Vishnu, Krishna, he didn't. And pālinī Shakti, he didn't understand. He was thinking this is should be a disturbing Shakti. He disturbed everyone. So the citizens decided the sages decided to remove him. They gave him one more chance. They spoke to him firmly. They pointed out what are his mistakes, and what was his reply? You are envious of me. Usual reply of demons. If you tell them what's wrong with them, oh, you're envious. So anyway, so they removed him, and they, through a process, they produced Prithu Maharaj and his wife, both of them Shakti avatars of Vishnu and Lakshmi respectively. So something like that may not be possible right now. You cannot produce Prithu Maharaj, but by preaching, by thinking very deeply, keeping ourselves very pure and praying for the empowerment. There's one very nice quote when Srila Prabhupada speaks about, we say this is very, political field is very fearful field. It's not a joke. Yeah. So we have to be powerful. It's not for everyone, not at all. So Prabhupada said, how to get strength. Although we are representing Krishna, we are very much poor in strength, right? Our only strength is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So if we stick to the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, following the rules and regulations, that will give us strength to work on both sides. Namely, to enlighten people in Krishna consciousness and to cut down the bad garment full of atheistic people. Our only hope is to chant Hare Krishna and rectify the whole situation. I think this is possible. If we follow the same principles everywhere, I think the bad garments all over the world will come forward sympathetically for advancing this movement. So, there's so much more here, but we see the compassion, at least some glimpse, the compassion of Srila Prabhupada. Because of that, he wanted to involve in the political field. He did as much as he could, as much as Krishna allowed at that time. He wanted to meet with the world leaders. He met with Indira Gandhi. He was planning for for the meeting with the U.S. president. That didn't work out, but he was trying, and he left us with the mandate to keep on trying, and follow this process very nicely, and get the strength to. Some of us will do it, hopefully. Some of us are doing it already. There's many devotees who are trying to involve themselves with governments as advisors and advising them, Krishna conscious solutions. So we are not only the histories that which are described in the Purāṇas. They're there to teach us what we should do, and also the ideal government is described, and all of that is lacking. So we may be saved as soon as we get to know about Krishna conscious philosophy, about chanting. Actually, we are saved. We are done. When we have to go through the whole process, but that's basically we are saved. But we have to think of others also. So many people, it's just suffering, like Prabhupada saw in the train, and it's just wasting their time. So in one way, and the politicians are, we don't want to discuss even, bad to say very politely. So we want to influence. We means Krishna wants to rectify the situation through his preachers, and Prabhupada started this great movement, and let's continue and progress, or to make it bigger, more impactful. Because this is actually the only movement that can do that. Nobody else is really capable, because they don't have the right philosophy. They don't. People, they want ideal life, but the philosophy is wrong. If you apply their philosophy, it will not work. But Krishna conscious philosophy is right, correct. But it needs people who are doing that, they very firmly convinced, and some power is needed also, empowerment. So let us pray to Srila Prabhupada that he empowers us, or some of us, that we can, all of us to some extent, that we can contribute to his mission. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Are there any questions or comments? There's one.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a beautiful class. So you said that we should be ready to defeat the philosophy, the wrong philosophies,
right,
with our own philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And for that we should know our own philosophy very nicely, very thoroughly. But what happened is it has to be done very purely, with a very pure heart, because otherwise we meet the ego. We are our own ego, and we meet the ego of these people. Then it doesn't work. Because we try to make them understand you are wrong, we are right.
Yeah. It's difficult to, Prabhupada speaking here about the ideal. You learn the philosophy, you preach, you defeat the wrong philosophies. And he's not saying you should, do that with the ego, and that may be full of misunderstandings also. So these are the things that happen The philosophy, surrender to Krishna, give it all up, and then for some, they misunderstand it. They give up things in a wrong way, but that doesn't mean the philosophy is wrong. There will always be mistakes. We are striving to be ideal, but we may not be. For those who, the problem is that those who do not know philosophy and preach, they don't know it well, they think they know it, right? So they have to be reminded. Better you preach to yourself, chant. It's true. But that's the principle. We speak what we know. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for bringing this hot topic to the class about politics. And, as you mentioned, the devotees, out of compassion for the welfare of the general population, Prabhupada apparently, or according to what you said, advised us to somehow get involved. Since we live in these democratic systems, and it's definitely not the best, but it's what we have. When it comes to elections, we always face this paradox or those dilemmas. What do? We don't vote. We vote always for the lesser of the two evils. And some parties align with certain principles that we follow, and some are contradictory in the same way. But since we don't have, at the moment, anybody, making a party that represents us fully, many religious groups have made a lot of advance as they grow the constituency by aligning with one or another, because you said it would be nice to have the favor of politicians, but we will not get the favor if we're not aligned with any of them. So it's a very, conflicting situation, especially at the time of voting. So I don't know how to make anything out of this. I always very confused, but thank you for probably enliven me or anybody else with this.
So just on this topic, Srila Prabhupada himself never publicly or privately endorsed any political party. Never. He himself said, I never voted. I was dragged by my friends to do it. I never went. So it's important to stay neutral. We can advise any political party, but we don't align with them unless it's our own party. If you cannot control, see, in India, let's say, it's any country, but okay, we live in India. Anyway, maybe I'm not. But see, this killings, cow killing, is sinful, right? It's like so sinful. But actually, no party is actively doing anything against it. Some don't have it even in their program, because we may eat whatever we like to eat. It's freedom. That's not the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. This is sinful. But it will never cease to be the program of Krishna consciousness movement. We are for cow protection. We cannot make business out of cows, or just close our eyes and leave. Okay, the old cows, I don't know what happens to them. I don't see that side. Yeah. that cannot become our program. We cannot make a compromise with that, never. Otherwise, what's the use of us?
It raises many questions, like, let's suppose that we do have enough people to get in power. How would we enforce something as not killing cows? Would we put everybody in jail? What do we do? You know, it's like, it's such a...
Let's say these are details. I think that can be worked out. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samahita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande.